Servus. Konbanwa. Servus. Herzlich willkommen. Ich hätte zwar extrem viel Lust, mit Chapter 9 anzufangen. Aber leider haben wir noch The Wonderful World of Ploys 1 und 2 und The Kareji Case offen. Und dann fahren wir jetzt, lesen wir erstmal Chapter 8,5. Kareji Case. No matter how busy one is, any person living with human means is certain to have at least some free time. Before or after eating, for example. It's difficult to eliminate the time required to prepare a meal and the time after one finishes eating. This is particularly the case for those who do a lot of thinking. Since the body needs to use energy to digest after eating, there's less available for the brain to use.
ナイキはあれでしょ？ 2K の文字りでしょ？アテナの持ってる盾じゃなくて小さな勝利の女神の方。陸上競技に勝つってイメージじゃない？
Ah, Nike!
さすがブランド品とか大好きな青子さん。どうでもいい知識だけはそれなりっすね。
Robin! The student's resident of the mansion was no talking, taking refuge on the sofa, looking exhausted. Urko was talking to Robin, perched on the table. The bluebird flapped its wings, doing its best to join in on the after-dinner conversations. Alice was reading in the sunroom. Discussion of how to deal with the encouraging enemy mage wouldn't start for at least another 30 minutes.
じゃあアディダスはもしかしてアディオスの文字りっすか？
The other one is some play on Adidas, Adios, verstehe.
あれは普通に名前じゃなかったっけ？ほら、グリム童話みたいに作った兄弟の名前がそのままブランド名になっちゃったのよ。
ブラザーグリムは童話を作ったわけじゃないわ。埋もれていた口伝を収集して物語に仕立て直して丁寧に編纂した人たちよ。職人というより学者の類ね。まあ多少は詐欺師めいたところもあるけれど。
Conman? Was sind Conman? Leo. Gibt es dafür eine Übersetzung? Ja. Ah, Hochstapler. Trickbetrüger. Bauernfänger. Auch eine Art, das zu putten. Interessante Sichtweise von Alice, muss ich sagen. Ha. Ich frage mich, wie Arko den entgegnen wird.
へえ。じゃあアンデルセンは？ 人魚姫とか親指姫とか超メジャーだけど。あと醜いアヒルの子。
自分裸の王様とかたまんないっす。シンパシー感じるっすよあのクリスタルキングに。
アンデルセンは学者というより作家でしょうね。彼の創作意欲は裕福層や大衆、平凡な幸福を得ている人々、果ては女性像への憤りから生まれたものだと言われているし、知的好奇心から筆を取ったのではなく、感情を訴えるために筆を取った人。あまりこういう説明はしたくないのだけれど、それぞれ分けて説明するなら、マザーグースは歌、ブラザーグリムは物語、アンデルセンは偶話ね。
ミツバチマッチはアニメっすね。ところで青子さん、アシックスの由来は何すか？
これは私も小学校の頃友達に聞いたものなんで真偽はわからないんだけど、アシックスってもともと3つの会社が合併してできた会社なのよ。で3社の社長が集まると足が6本になるじゃない。だから足シックス、あくまで俗説だけどね。
Ashiroku? Gibt's die Firma wirklich? Ashi... Ich finde vieles Ashiroku oder nichts, das wirklich eine Firma hinleiten lässt. Ashi 6? Da finde ich einen Musiker. Ashi 6? Und mich nervt gerade mein Handy. Alice had dropped a book on the floor of the sunroom and was biting her lip. She was clearly trying to patiently calm and to breathe as nothing had happened. She thought she was doing a convincing job of it.
あの子の笑いのツボもわかんないわね。
それはどうすかね。あんまりにもつまんなかったから怒ってるのかもしれないっすだってアリスさん、怒り浸透しても笑顔になるんすよ。自分たまに見るっす。アリスさんの日記を盗み見てると後ろでそういう顔してるっす。それ以上見ると死ぬわよって。でも勘弁してほしいっす。見ちゃうものは見ちゃうっすよ。自分から素行調査を取ったらもう基礎本能しか残らない気もするっす
The robber felt compelled to give a counter-argument for some reason. Orculate at the side. Even Alice sympathizes her over the difficult familiar.
ただいま。お、今日は2人ともいるんだな。
It was this time that Sushiro returned. He must have gotten home from his part-time job.
おかえり、お疲れ様。
Orko warm welcome was quite the opposite from the faint response from the sunroom.
夕食は済ませてきたからいらないよ。じゃあ、夜のバイトに備えてちょっと寝てくれ。
Sushiro still gave Alice a wave as he left. The dull thud of something dropping was heard as he entered the hallway.
おーい、 なんか落ちたわよ。
Orko peeked out from the sofa to tell yell for Soichiro.
ああ、ポケットに入れっぱなしだった。
Soichiro calmly and nature walked back to pick up what looked to be some kind of envelope. Perhaps it was instinct, but the human eyes was drawn to motion, even if it was something one had no personal interest in. Orko keenly followed Soichiro's hand with her eyes. A wad of cash. She had restrained herself from shouting her thoughts out loud as she leaped from the sofa.
どうした青崎。
どうしたってその。
Orko found it difficult to come up with a proper response to the pure, innocent eyes staring back at her. She was ashamed at how she had jumped up at the enticing sight of so much money.
なんでもない。そうよね。普通にアルバイトの給料日よね。にしても結構もらってんのね、あんた。
There was another pause before Soichiro's mother returned back to his room. Orko sat back down to the sofa, still feeling a bit awkward. This was what set it all off. The beneficial events that Robin would later name the Dosh Affair. It was the next day, around the same time as the previous day's incident. Orko was coming in to pour some tea and relax when she heard Soichiro and Robin engaged in some kind of debate in the drawing room.
その人が言うには、人と会うたびに小さな親切を尽くしてあげるべきだと。そうして一日が終わったら、その親切が何をもたらしたかよく噛み締めなさいって。たった一回の言葉だけの親切でも相手にとっては大きな意味があるんだそうだ。それが
うは、だから自分にビーフジャーキーくれたっすか？でもそれ親切じゃなくて袖の下っていう伝統芸能じゃないっすかね。
Ich will auch Beef Jerky!
見え見えっす。
Soichiro's demeanor was like a consolation or proposal that it was idle chatter.
まあ、あいつが妙なのはいつものことか。
Orko decided to ignore what was going on in the drawing room and head straight to the sunroom. There she saw Soichiro's coat on the chair.
ちょっと宗十郎、コート置きっぱなしじゃない。今のコート掛けか自分の部屋に持って行って。
She stopped herself mid-sentence. She could see the same kind of envelope that Soichiro had dropped on the ground yesterday inside his coat pocket. And it was even thicker than the one she saw the day before. She wouldn't allow herself to make a spectacle about it like she did yesterday. She reminded herself that she was a model student and student council president.
さーて、紅茶紅茶っと。
Finding disinterest, she listened in the conversation going on in the drawing room. Soichiro was still in deep conversation with the Robin. Perhaps he didn't hear her calls.
都会の孤独は万人に平等だ。一見して身勝手な暴力じみた押し着せの善意も長い目で見ればその人のためになる。
なるほど。親切の押し付けには一銭もかからないっすからね。ちゃんちゃん人助けするっすよ。
Ich mag Robin.
ただより高いものはないって言うけどね。
どっちっすかこのシャバゾン。
Orko was so intent on eavesdropping, she had completely forgotten that she would come to pour a cup of tea. There was no way she could ignore such a suspicious conversation.
こうも言うんだ。幸福になりたければ初めは恨まれてもいいと。やれ金を返せだの詐欺師だの言われてもいずれその人のためになると分かっていれば 心を鬼にできる。人に尽くしている喜びが後ろめたさとか帳消しにするらしい。
それ知ってるっす。でも微妙に違うような。
Orc agreed with Robin in this case. Suchiro was referring to the words of a famous entrepreneur. If we want to find happiness, let's stop thinking about gratitude or ingratitude and give for the inner joy of giving. That was actual quote.
あるいはこうとも、貯金のある人はその富を温存するよりも会社がより豊かになるために使うべきだと。
それも知ってるっす。でももう完全に違うような。
Orc was becoming upset with how much he was agreeing with the Robin at this point. This was a quote from an even more famous entrepreneur. Surplus wealth is a sacred trust which its possessor is bound to administer in his lifetime for the good of the community. This was how that one was supposed to go.
信じられるのはお金だけなのかもしれない。だって奥さんも子供もずっと一緒にいてくれるわけじゃない。不幸な事故で先立たれることだってある。
Die Einstellung hätte ich von Sojiro gar nicht erwartet.
「でもお金は別だった。お金で幸福は買えないけど幸福はお金になる。今は人の親切と温かい布団があればそれでいい」とその人は言った。
なんか無性にらしくないこと言ってるわね、あいつ。
Though his was a bit strange and worrisome, Aoko couldn't spend much time worrying about it. She didn't have the capacity to worry about anything else right now. Her battle with the enemy, Mage, was always lurking just beneath the surface.
どっちにしろ私には関係ないか。
Aoko shook it off and turned her attention away from the drawing room. She told herself that she would forget about all this commotion by tomorrow anyway. Noch ist nichts passiert.
Tadaima.
Shuru was back from his shop with a smile on his face again today. Virtually was his own reward. His mood was infectious and Aoko smiled back while relaxing on the sofa.
はい、お疲れ様。休んでていいわよ。今日は昼からずっとバイトだったんでしょ。夕飯ならこれから作って。何？
Her smile suddenly turned frigid.
どうした青崎。木の実の冗談を聞いた時みたいな顔して。
どうしたじゃない。いい加減黙っていられなくなった。いいからそのポケットのもん出しなさい。
The two reached and pulled out the contents of his pocket without knowing why he was being scolded. He placed it now all too familiar brown envelope on the table. It was far too thick to be any normal envelope. It was bright, acting and almost magical. There was nothing else it could be than a stack of cash.
まあ、これはどうしたの、しずきくん。
Alice innocently asked Suchiro. She was a bit dazzled at the sight, but there was no mistaking it for illusion.
バイト代だよ。
そう。それはいいことだわ。明日はごちそうね。
The two remained calm despite the abnormally large wad of cash before them. That being said, the one with the most common sense in the house finally had to speak up.
んなわけないでしょ。ちょっと宗十郎、そこに正座。どういうことか説明なさい。
She knew more than anyone on how serious this was.
説明って何をだ。
決まってるでしょ。 この札束の正体よ。あんた今何やってんの？どう考えてもまっとうな職種とは思えないんですけど。
まっとうだぞ。この新しいバイトは少なくとも法には触れていないと聞いた。ちゃんとやれば危ない目にも合わない。コンビニエンスストアより割がいいし、俺でも簡単にできるという。
Unbelievable. Orko was just about dizzy with rage by this point. At least, not illegal. That's like when an obviously drunk person tries to contend that they are indeed quite the contrary.
正気に戻れ。日ごとお金が倍々に増えていくバイトなんてあるわけないでしょ。いいから仕事の内容を言いなさい。内容を。あんたどう考えても騙されてるから。
Soshiro kept his mouth shut. He didn't seem to be too threatened by Orko's reprimands.
ダメだ。いくら青崎でも教えられない。あんまり人に話すことでもない。でも安心してくれ。分類的にはちょっとした人助けと言えるだろう。あと紹介してくれた人とは一度しか会ってないし、支払いは常に現金だ。
この田舎バカ、その文脈からして怪しすぎるんだっていうの。
Orko stamped her through the frustration, but who could blame her after hearing the standard lies for a scam? It's a new job, the pay is good and anyone can do it, and I'm not supposed to talk about. Despite all that, Soshiro was still refusing to spill the beans. They hadn't known each other for that long, but Orko was well aware of Soshiro's personality. Steadfast, explained him well. Once he made a decision, nothing could make him change his mind about it. And in times like this, it was near impossible to get him to talk.
厄介な。
Orko begged off that it would be a challenge to get him to say anything at this point, so she couldn't figure out what was upsetting her.
なんで青崎は怒ってるんだ？
Orko decided to give up on getting anything useful out of him.
そんなうまい話はないからよ。アリスもそう思うでしょ。
そうね。青子の言いたいことはわからないけど、しずきくんはもっとやるべきだと思う。
And so others contributed absolutely nothing useful. Orko collapsed onto the sofa.
青崎、
いいわよもう。よくわかんない理由で話す気ないんでしょ、宗十郎。考えてみればあんたなんてただの同居人なわけだし、私があれこれ文句言う筋合いはなかったわ。
Orko shooed Soshiro away with her hand. Unfortunately, she wasn't going to be able to sit there and stew like she wanted to. She could just ignore the problem like Alice.
あいつはどう見ても騙されてるし、最終的にとばっちり食らうのは私だし。
She needed to be bold and make him quit his new job of his immediately. It was the truth Rand would do. And it was also a duty as student council president. However, Orko started to think otherwise. Morals and clear conscience were important, sure, but for a student living solely off their parents' generosity, that kind of money was hard to pass up.
そうね。最終的に辞めさせるのは絶対にしても、これまで稼いだお金を捨てるのはもったいないし、仕方ない。ここは絡め手でいくか。
The wicked Shimizu husband sank deeper into the sofa. Her ability to play things by ear and the misalignation were both her strongest and weakest points. The next day, noon. Orko waited until the roommates were gone and picked up the phone in the foyer.
もしもし、飛び丸？宗十郎がこんなことになってるんだけど、あんた心当たりない？
The sound of the first train leaving the station could be heard far off in the distance. Ooh, the soundtrack is good. Du, 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 du. Du, 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 du. This was the time of mourning. When Tom was deciding, it felt like waking up or not. Toimaru Tsukiji was having a walk down the city streets at sunrise, enjoying the fresh crisp of morning air.
本当、街ってのは人間がいないだけで綺麗なもんだ。
The crowds had become a common complaint of Toimaru's. To him, the tacky, over-decorated street corners were the embodiments of human desire. At this time, the streets were nothing like the circus tent of activity they usually were. The main streets were completely empty. It was like a lonely, tranquil morning after the festival. Weary men in black were busy cleaning up and restoring order in the bars after the previous night revelry. Around the back entrance of the local restaurants, the kitchen crew were busy bringing in the daily ingredients while stifling back tired yawns. Birds carelessly wandered the streets. There wasn't even the sound of a single car engine to be heard. This was a quick and uniquely refreshing sensation that could only be felt from a city morning. If existed somewhere between daily life and exciting entertainment, this was the only time of day when the bustling modern world slept aside for a slower, more nostalgic pace.
そうか。
Toimaru searched for his pocket cards, but only found some old recepts. He rearranged the scarf around his neck to keep the cold wind at bay. Meandering through the city streets, he ended up the Central Park, just as the morning magic began to fade. His stroll had no particular purpose. It wasn't for his health or anything like that. He was merely making his way home after nights out of the town.
バカらしい。何やってんだ。
Toimaru had a moment of unabashed self-reflection as he drank a can of vending machine cafe. He didn't particularly hate partying all night long, but it was pretty boring since he still wasn't old enough to drink alcohol. He had been in it for a few days now, thinking it was at least better than being at home, but he was quietly growing bored of it.
年末に親戚筋が集まるのは仕方がねえし。
He grinned wildly at his own lone lame excuse. It was true that he was out wasting time like this because he didn't really have a place to go home at the moment. The Tsukiji family always had a congregation of relatives on New Year's Day, as per his grandfather's orders. This is why siblings and other relatives had been staying over at Tsukiji home for a few days now. If Toimaru was there, he would just provide fuel for the fire. He would have decided to avoid the family drama and not go home while everyone was there. They just greeted him with insults anyway. And if someone tried to start a fight, he knew he wouldn't be able to resist the bait. It would only cause even more resentment and trouble for his father. So for Toimaru, there was nothing more pointless or less exciting than getting involved in his siblings' squabbles over the inheritance. Toimaru Tsukiji was fifth born son of the Tsukiji family, which owned multiple lots of land in Misaki City. However, most of the land had been acquired after the war. Before that, there had been a minor noble family on the brink of ruin. The man who built the Tsukiji family into its current glory was Kimikuni Tsukiji, Toimaru's grandfather and the current patriarch. Kimikuni married into the struggling Tsukiji family and saved them after they lost all their power during the war. Tsukiji clan were local Shinto clergy and relied upon Kimikuni's financial assets. Kimikuni, on the other hand, had leveraged clan connections to establish himself in Misaki City. While both parties came together for mutual change, the Tsukiji family failed to recognize just how ambitious Kimikuni was when he accepted him into the family. He wasn't the immediate son-in-law they had imagined, but he had grand plans of his own, growing and developing industries with Misaki City and many other areas as well. Kimikuni controlled all of these areas. not as member of the Tsukishi family, but under his new name. Own name, pardon. Cast the greatest defense was its moat, not its walls, and Kimikuni bridged the most. It was the economic equivalent of starving out the enemy. Kimikuni's financial might subdued the noble Tsukishi family completely. In less than 10 years, there was no one in the family who could stand up against him. The businessmen accepted into the family as their nurse-in-law and seized the Tsukishi name and the entirety of the family fortune. However, Kimikuni had fathered many children. He would not allow the Tsukishi bloodline to die out. That was also the only way to maintain the family fortune. His 3 sons and 1 daughter all married relatives of the Tsukishi family, thus strengthening the family bonds that Kimikuni had weakened. Toimaru was the 5th son of Hideyoshi Tsukiji, Kimikuni's eldest son. However, his mother was not a member of the family. Toimaru was a result of flirting with her mistress. That ignoble birth defined his place in the family. He was his father's love child. Although the family dignity was somehow maintained since he was the son of Hideyoshi, it was not difficult to imagine the level of mistreatment Toimaru faced from his siblings and other relatives. Being raised in such a hostile environment made Toimaru grow up far faster than he should have. His ability to think quickly and objectively was haunted naturally with this challenging environment. However, those exact traits also brought Toimaru a great deal of trouble. Kimikuni Tsukichi. Unfortunately, against all odds, the great leader of the Tsukishi family favored Tobimaru over everyone else, including his own eldest son. Since Kimikuni had been commoner himself, he did not believe in blood inheritance alone. To make matters worse, not a single coin from his great fortune had been given to any of his sons yet. The most loathsome thing in this world is the blood of the Tsukishi family. I never would have any of you if I could have helped it. Those also spoke at every family gathering, and they were absolute truth. He would even take a liking to Toimaru after speaking with him at these annual family gatherings and enjoyed playing chess with him in his spare time ever since. After the family was void, Kimikuni would name Toimaru as a successor. In this way, Toimaru had gone from being worthless to a threat in the eyes of Kimikuni's sons. Poor Toimaru. The son who felt the most fear and hatred was Toimaru's own father, Hideyoshi, who would have been unquestionably higher as the eldest son. And thus was how Toimaru became estranged from his father. They no longer even lived in the same house. Hideyoshi always acted like they had a great father-son relationship in front of Kimikuni, but it would only last until his father was no longer around or until Toimaru was officially named the heir. When that happened, it would be all out war. In any case, it would not be a pleasant story.
じいさんも空気読めねえからな。ほんと。
Toimaru scratched his head in frustration. He really wasn't all that worried though. In public, it looked like they had a good father-son relationship. In private, they were in the midst of a bitter inheritance dispute. Things had always been that way even before he met Kimikuni. The only difference was that his sole protector, his father, was now his mortal enemy. Toimaru had always been at odds with his family. His father was just one more enemy to add to the pile. Staying out all night like this was Toimaru's way of avoiding his family. It was home, he knew. They would try to gouge his feelings. However, they wouldn't openly attack him now. Even the relatives would look down on him, and the siblings would bully him as child. The worst they would do was make snide remarks. Tobimaru was just at his core a peaceful person, who preferred to avoid trouble whenever possible. Pity, revenge, or even stepping up to Kimikuni's expectations weren't on his to-do list. His summer worries were unfounded, his relatives were getting railed up for no reason, and Tobimaru had no intention of stepping out of his role as the prodigal son. However, his siblings who were around the same age as him had a different kind of resentment. Perhaps they felt guilty for tormenting him all these years. Perhaps it was a result of the roles being reversed. He's going to get back at us, and one day they lived with such fear of this that they didn't dare ignore Tobimaru.
そのくせ根回しはうまくねえときた。青崎ぐらいの大胆さで突っ込んでくるんならまだスリルがあるってもんだがな。
His family brothers were simply a chore. They never really rewarded him much. Was used to human malice. Although he would nearly die from physical abuse of his siblings. Even though someone had once tried to kill him with true murderous intent. Even though he had been exposed to how the elite, the untouchable class of society treated others by his eldest brother. Sind das keine Magier? It was also a pain in the ass. These were all events that would change a person's outlook on life, but he always remained cool-headed. That was just how things were for Tobimaru. He had grown bored of his relatives getting worked up over everything.
まあ、そのあたりは人それぞれか。親父殿には同情するけどな。あのじいさんの息子なんて波の根性じゃ務まらねえ。
Tobimaru honestly could not care less about who would be the next heir. Here, he had no clear plans for the future yet. His own real goal was to wash his hands of his family and start fresh when he became an adult. Und ich hätte erwartet, dass Tobimaru so jemand wäre, der schon sein ganzes Leben ausgeplant hätte. Until then, everything that happened was a life experience. He continued his morning walk, thinking it was better to enjoy the nightlife now, while he was still young. Sun was already sitting on the bench when Tobimaru entered the plaza. The crowds gathered there flew off this approach. On the bench sat a girl dressed in black. A well-dressed old man with a cane set with her. There were familiar faces, so he approached the bench to say hello. The old man and the girl looked as if they were grandfather and granddaughter. He seemed like a kind old man, spending time with his grandchild. However, the truth was...
アリス、僕は今でも思うんだ。一体何がいけなかったのかって。考えられるサービスは全て実現させた。従業員への感謝も来園者への笑顔も忘れたことはない。なのに時代は僕を選ばなかった。それどころか僕の内なる芸術性を否定した。無念だ。死ぬがいい。腐った魚のようなマスコミどもめ。何が悪夢のクリーチャーか。あんな夢にまで見そうなマスコットが他にあるだろうか。いやあるまい。なのに連中と来たらネズミを二足歩行させれば満足と来た。
Da ist jemand sauer wegen des Day.
そもそも犬をペットにする齧歯類とか冷静に考えたら怖いぞ。動物が動物をペットにするなんてモラルが低いにも程がある。あそこはやはり人間をペットにするべきじゃないんだろうか。
Okay. Was für eine Einstellung! Actually, this poor young woman was getting an earful from this old man. After his outburst, he paused for a moment.
いや、これは失礼。許しこよ。し、
He saw himself hung his head.
答えてくれ、アリス。一体僕のキッツィちゃんは何がいけなかったんだ？
Ah, Kitsyland!
角よ。角をつけるべきだったのよ。
The girl back to the old man's solemn, but with a grim answer of her own.
いや、角はいけない。子供たちが怪我をしてしまうからね。僕は傷をつけるなら体ではなく心にしたい。
The girl nodded deeply, thinking over the implications of what this old man just said. Was für kranke Figuren, bitte! Anyway, Toman really wanted to get involved, but he was already too close. If he passed by without saying anything, the old man would certainly make a fuss.
こんにちは。こんな朝っぱらからじくじく公開中かい、時津のじいさん。いつまでも引きずってると死に損なうぜ。さっさと往生して息子たちを安心させてやんな。
Tokitsu?
おや、どこの悪ガキかと思えば豊かの子供か。おはよう、トビー。君も相変わらず早起きだね。
俺は朝帰りですよ。お二人みたいに健康的じゃない。そら、クオンジのお嬢さんもおはようさ。
The girl looked up calmly at Tomiya's greeting. It was none other than the witch on the hill, Alice Kuanji.
こうしてまともに挨拶するのは2年前のパーティー以来か。何にせよ珍しいな。あんたがお付きなしで町に降りてきてるなんてよ。
そうでもないわ。この時間の公園は鳥を入れ替えるのにちょうどいいから。
ほう、そりゃ驚いた。箱入り娘じゃなかったのか、あんた。
Dito.
ええ。その証拠にあなたがひどい顔で歩いているのを何度か見かけたわ。遊び歩くのは結構だけど、青子に迷惑かけないよう気をつけなさい。
ご忠告どうも肝に銘じておくよ。
Despite the castle greeting, Humano and Alice rarely interacted through their fathers were acquainted. Even so, the histories and spheres of influence of the two families were very different. Though the Tsukiji held sway in Misaki City, and Kuanji's influenced the rule of Japan. Normally, someone like Humano would not be in the same social circles as Alice. The only reason they could interact like this was all because they were both friends with Aoko Aosaki.
若菜。トビー、君はアリスと友人関係だったのか。もしかして二人はステディな関係だとかいう
Wie kommst du darauf, alter Mann?
やめたまえ。言ったら大事になるぞ、トビー。僕は心臓麻痺で急死しかねない。犯人は君であり、凶器はアリスだ。
Servus, freut mich zu hören. Aber wie kommst du drauf, alter Mann? Die haben sich seit 2 Jahren nicht gesprochen.
無論死因はこう書いてくれ。そう聞くも無情な恋の病と。
クオンジのお嬢さんはどうしてこんなダメ老人と？
wundere ich mich auch.
俺と同じ親父関係の付き合いか？
Und wie geht's? Tai? 3?
この人とはペンフレンド。
Penfreund? Also Stiftfreund? Oder ist Penfriend Brieffreund auf Englisch? Ja, der Brieffreund.
分不相応にいいアンティークを持っているから青子と二人で少しずつ取り上げているの。
Despite this being one of the only times they would really talk, Tomorrow and Alice both managed to completely ignore the old man.
参ったな。アリスは照れ隠しもチャーミングだ。ところで僕のことはユーリヒと呼んでくれていいんだよ。
Mr. Tokitsu gently took Alice's hand. Alice's face remained natural, like a doll's.
トッキー、私いい絵付けのティーカップを探しているの。1900年代のラム工房のものとかどうかしら。
Warum bist du einen aus Dresden?
あるとも。もちろんあるとも。今度おっかないお友達と遊びに来る時までに用意しておこう。
Das ist Wulaoko. Hier ist one to request a Marionette.
おいらくの恋って柄かよ。よくもまあ寝台潰さなかったもんだ。突版は。
You see, this album was none other than Yurihiko Tokitsu. He was famous in Yashurogi as the former head of the Tokitsu Banking Company with the factories all across Japan. He still serves as an advisor.
老人とはなんだ。芸術家にとっての老いとは感性の凍結であり、しかるに我が心の火は絶えていない。僕はまだ暑苦しいくらいに若いんだ。つぼみのような少女と恋を語らう楽しみは残っているさ。この年になるともう世間体とかどうでもよくてね。女の子と話すことだけが人生の意味になるんだぞ。
若いのかじいさんなのかどっちなんだよ。
おっと、失言。最後の方のは聞き流してくれ。僕が言いたいのは女の子と穏やかな時間を過ごすのは最高ってことさ。
Da habe ich leider keine Ahnung, was die richtige Entscheidung ist am Ende. Du musst, glaube ich, skeptisch bleiben, ob... Ich habe leider selbst keine Ahnung davon. Du musst, glaube ich, skeptisch bleiben, ob ihr den richtigen erwischt habt.
トビー、そういうの君も好きだろ？
一緒にしないでください。あいにく俺は年上好みですよ。おまけに言うなら二回り以上も年下の女に欲情する趣味もねえわけで。
それはそうだろう。君がやったら犯罪だ。トビーは17歳。その二回り下が何歳になるとか口に出したらいけないよ。
Wieso gibst du Leute his self-information? He chose to ignore Tomorrow's off-color remarks. Tomorrow was reluctantly impressed with the man's magnanimity in the end.
ともかく挨拶はしましたから邪魔者はこれで消えますよ。あとは仲良し同士気兼ねなくどうぞ。
なんだトビー、これも縁だ。ゆっくりしていけばいい。なんなら今から僕の別荘に来るかね。ヘリコを呼ぶよ。楽しいぞ。
いや、お気持ちは嬉しいんですけどね。 知る人が見ればとんでもなくブルジョワなメンツでしょこれ。今は避けたい気分なんですよ、そういうの。
Kein Mensch, nur dass ich auf Twitch bin gerade. Boah, ich habe das gesamte Spiel schon mehrfach durchgespielt. Ich habe nur damals, ich war auf Google oder Google gegoogelt. Ja. Habe einfach irgendeinen... Was meinst du mit der Bug ohne Ende? Bei mir läuft es komplett normal. Habe einfach irgendeinen Guide gesucht. Tomatoes just worse with his presence situation clear to Mr. Tokitsu and he reluctantly backed off. Such intuitive understanding made it obvious now how this man had expanded the Tokitsu banking company nationwide. He had divined Tobimaru's complicated family situation in an instant.
ミックによろしく。そろそろ引退して子供たちと仲直りするよう僕が言っていたと伝えてくれ。
はいはい、ぬかに釘だろうけど伝えておきますよ。じゃあな、クオンジュさん。また朝に出会うことがあったらその時は改めて挨拶させてくれ。
At the silence, Neith encouraged nor discouraged this. Tobimaru shrugged and left the plaza. Wann wirst wir zu Sushi zurückgehen? We were glacially near Waffle Park and came to an area of the city that was under redevelopment. There was a radio tower under construction. There the Tsukishi family had a hand in it, but most of the capital for the project was funded by the foraging firms.
この電波塔は10年先を見越してのものです。いずれ携帯通信は目まぐるしい進歩を遂げるでしょう。まずはそのモデルケースとして私どもの技術を三崎市に普及させたいのです。
The man from the foraging firm shook on the deal with Tobimaru's father, Hideyoshi.
いずれは娘も三崎市に住まわせようと思っています。その時はあなたの息子さんともぜひ交友を深めて。
He was a handsome man who had the calm command of a leader. The fact he had offered up his daughter to Tobimaru showed that he had researched the Tsukushi family inheritance issues well.
親父も舐められてるって気づけよな。親父より先に俺に色目使いやがって。クソヤンキーが。
Yep.
そもそも金髪女の相手なんざ願い下げだぜ。向こうで海兵相手にケツ振ってろってんだ。
Aber blond sind heiß. Tobimaru stopped in his tracks after these muttered complaints. He decided to stop himself before he said anything worse. He would walk far enough already anyway. The sun was completely up now. There was nothing more to cheer from wandering mindlessly.
戻るか。
He turned his back to the radio tower and began heading home. 1 hour later,
坊ちゃん、お電話です。
Tobimaru had returned to the Tsukishi residence. He took the phone from the house so
も
mad.
しもし、飛丸？宗十郎がこんなことになってるんだけど、あんた心当たりない？
Ah, jetzt sind wir da, wo wir aufgehört haben. Okay, Saki was on the line. That was never a good sign.
とまあこういうわけなのよ。
すげえな。安心できる要素が一つもねえ。
So it really seems kind of a strange part-time job. I'll wait for you in Central Park to talk about it. 10 minutes have passed since he received the call from Aoko and returned to the park. Tomorrow felt a light migraine coming on after hearing about the situation. The young girl and the old man from before were nowhere to be seen.
そんなこと言われるまでもなく分かってるわよ。私だって人のアルバイトにケチつけたくないけど、どう考えても普通じゃないでしょ。あんたあいつから何か聞いてない？
悪いな、期待には応えられん。宗十郎はバイトに関しては秘密主義だ。任されているからには他言はできない。
Überraschend, aber auch zum Teil erwartet.
そうなのよね。あいつ他人の事情に関しちゃ缶詰みたいに切りがたいから。
ほう、それは青崎にそこまで言わせるとはね。宗十郎も信頼されたもんだ。
どういう意味よそれ。
タイはね、言葉通りに受け取ってくれ。お前基本的に何にだって怒るだろ。そんな女が学校外で世話を焼くなんてよっぽど。
違うわよ。あいつが問題を起こしたら私たちにまで飛び火するじゃない。こんなの誰がどう見てもただのリスク回避でしょ。
Red's dir nur einer, Oko.
なるほど、公務として見過ごせないってわけか。
そうよ。悪い？
いやー、悪かねえさ。むしろ尊敬するよ。ほんと鉄の生徒会長だぜ。休日だっていうのに学校の評判を守るためだけに働けるとは。
だけってところを妙に強調するじゃない。まあ事実その通りだけど。
Arthur's glare seems to suggest she wasn't interested in hearing any objections. This little bluff was rather charming to Sumiyaro, who was well aware of Sushiro's and Oko's current living situation.
別に。しかしまあ、そういうことなら副会長として付き合わなくっちゃな。会長は学校のために宗十郎を調査する。俺はそのサポートをしつつ友人として宗十郎を気にかけるってことで。
Folgt ihn doch einfach mal zu seinem Job. Tomorrow said he would do as Oko asked, but for some reason she did not seem satisfied.
じゃあそうと決まれば早速始めますか。青崎のことだから宗十郎の勤め先ぐらい突き止めてんだろ。住所ど。
それが尾行したんだけどうまく巻かれちゃって。
Okay, also ich hatte schon versucht.
駅前から2丁目方面に曲がっていたのまでは確実なんだけど。
The vice president was used to this. He didn't bother saying anything about her going so fast to tell Sushiro.
2丁目か。あの辺りだとパチンコとゲームセンターぐらいしか思い当たらねえな。一日に何万も稼げる店なんぞねえぞ。
そうなのよ。というか知ってたら私が試したい気分だわ。飛び丸、念のために聞くけど三崎町にあるお金の稼げる遊び場ってパチンコだけよね。
あ、親父の話じゃ風営法に引っかかる賭場はねえとさ。三崎町の顔役は話のわかるおっさんでクリーンな極道を目指してるらしい。パチンコ経営だけで満足してるって話だ。
Glücksspiel in Japan, das interessiert mich jetzt. Glücksspiel Gesetz Japan. Glücksspiel ist in Japan streng reguliert. Das geht so weit, dass selbst der Betrieb von Casinos bis zu der Gesetzesnovelle im Jahr 1980 komplett verboten war. Demgegenüber existieren in ganz Japan sogenannte Pachinko, richtige Pachinko-Hallen. Pachinko ist eigentlich der Name einer spätjapanischen Art Spielautomaten. In Pachinko-Hallen finden sich neben Pachinko häufig auch Arcade-Konsolen. Pachinko-Hallen sind aufgrund des sonst nähersten Team Glücksspielbilder sehr beliebt. Andere Formen des erlaubten Glücksspiels sind die staatliche Lotterie, sowie das Wetten der Pferderennen und andere Formen des Rennsports, sowie eine Art Toto-System für Sportarten wie Baseball oder Fußball. Pachinko sind ein echtes Phänomen in Japan. Diese speziellen Spiele sind oft eng, laut, bunt und für die Uneingeweihten durch die vielen Sonderaktionen, extra Gewinnchancen und temporären Boni durch die Lautsprecher ausgerufen werden, häufig durch schwer verständlich. Zudem handelt es sich bei den durch Privatunternehmen betriebenen Pachinko-Hallen und den Automaten auch nicht direkt um eine Form des Glücksspiels, da man nicht direkt Geld gewinnen kann, sodass die strikten Glücksspielregeln nicht zum Tragen kommen. Diese Ausnahme ist aber durchaus eine geplante, die auf kulturell-historischen wie monetären Interessen beruht. Pachinko-Automaten ähneln klassischerweise dem wie auf uns belebten Flipper, allerdings hat der Spieler weniger Kontrolle über den Fluss der eingegebenen Marken. Diese werden von den Spielern der Pachinko-Halle gekauft, üblicherweise Hunderte bis 1000 und den Pachinko-Automaten eingegeben. Der Spieler kann an einem Hebel bestimmen, wie viele und wann die Marken durch den Automaten geschossen werden. Die meisten fallen als Nieten durch. Einige werden wieder gelanden, aber auch in den anderen für sich vorgesehenen Speziallöchern. Das Landen in den Speziallöchern kann je nach Loch ein unterschiedliches Ergebnis erfolgen. Gewinn neuer Markenkugeln, temporär neue Konfiguration des Labyrinths, durch welches die Kugeln fallen, meistens mit höherer Chance die Kugeln in den Speziallöchern landen, und Auswürfegewinn in Form neuer Kugeln. In Pachinko kann man nicht direkt Geld gewinnen, sondern täglich mehr Marken oder Kugeln. Diese können allerdings im Anschluss gegen Sachpreise eingetauscht werden. Ursprünglich waren Pachinko-Maschinen mechanisch, heute gibt es sowohl mechanische als auch elektronische Pachinko-Maschinen, in deren Abruf über Monitore dargestellt werden. Ah! Neben Sachpreisen wie Feuerzeug, Kugelschreiber oder ähnlichen, die Gegner von 10.000 Yen nicht überschreiten dürfen, gehören zu diesen Sachpreisen auch kleine Goldbahnen im Wert von exakt 10.000 Yen. So wird der potenzielle Gewinn am Ende im Umweg doch zu Gold. Bzw. Geld, wenn man so will. Daher findet man in der Nähe von Pachinko-Hallen auch sehr oft Geschäfte oder Buden, die Gold einkaufen und verkaufen. Ah! Der Schätzung wurde bei 70% der Pachinko-Spielhallen von Nordkoreanern geführt, von denen wiederum um die 3000 unter den Einfluss einer Nordkorea nahestehenden Vereinigung, der Shonggyeon, befinden sollen. Schätzungsweise geht davon aus, dass aus dem Pachinko-Geschäft so ungefähr 1,2 Milliarden Euro pro Jahr als Devisen nach Nordkorea abfließen. Interessant!
それは知ってる。一応確認しただけ。でもそうなるとますます謎ね。ギャンブル以外でお金を売買にしていく仕事なんてちょっと思い当たらないんだけど。
ああ、体でも売ってるとしか思えない羽振りの良さだ。一晩いくらみたいな。
Das ist, wenn ich weiß, sogar illegal in Japan. Zumindest glaube ich, dass es legal wäre. Wobei, wie alt ist das schon? 17? Dann wäre es vielleicht nicht legal. Okay, auf den englischen Artikel über Prostitution in Japan habe ich keine Lust. There was a slight delay in Ako's reaction. It took a few seconds to reassure what he was saying, but then her jaw dropped.
体ってあんた。
ほら、絵画のモデルとかバイト代は高いと聞くぜ。
あ、うん、割はいいって言うわね。美大生ってお金持ちだし。そうよね。それぐらいなら別に。
まあヌードなのは当然だが。
結局裸じゃない。
Du meine Fresse! Without any real information to go on, the conversation was quickly diverged further from the topic at hand. Without knowing the location of type of work, there was really wasn't much to talk about.
明日もう一度総十郎を尾行するしかないわね。二人がかりなら見失うこともないだろうし。
Ach komm, du hast doch gar nicht versucht.
そうだな。他に手がかりもねえし、明日にするか。宗十郎の羽振りがいいだけじゃどうしようも。
Tomato filled his brow. It seemed he had thought of something. His expression turned more dire by the second.
どうしたの飛丸？何か思い出した？
ああ、ちょっとな。そういえば最近妙に羽振りのいいバカが一人いたなって。そいつ3日ぐらい前から金に明かして合コンし放題って話なんだが、頭の痛いことに宗十郎と同じクラスのバカなんだよ、これが。
Der Rothaarige, ich bin Kinomi, glaube ich. There were a few seconds of silence. Okodashi had put two and two together.
あいつね。
The two immediately left the park to go to find the suspect.
チャリース
Richtig gedacht.
お呼びとあらば補修だろうと即サボり、
いや
遊びのお誘いだけは断らない木の実くんです。
Suspect A was apprehended with ease. Orko and Tomoru were both on the student council, so they knew that time would be a school for remedial lessons. Toimaru got a girl in Kinomi's class to tell him he had some good news to share outside. Kinomi took the bait and came running out the school front's gate as fast as he could.
ああ、補習中呼び出して悪かったな。
別に悪くないぜ。補習を口実にバイトをサボってみたものの、やっぱり補習もかったるかったんで出席だけ取って保健室で寝てただけだし。でちょうど暇してたところに殿下からコールだろ。合流できると飛んできたわけさ。
Du kennst ihn einfach zu schlecht. Sumi gave a double thumbs up, showing that he was really ready to have some fun.
そうか、てっきり外で遊び歩いてると思ったが助かったぜ。お前連日ゲームセンターに入り浸りだって聞いてたからよ。
ああ、あれね。ちょうど昨日ですっからかんよ。ゲーセンでおごりまくるのは気持ちいいけど、後に残るのは虚しさばかりだよな。
Okay.
他校のヤンキーどもと仲良くなっても嬉しくねえっつうが、女っ気皆無というか。なんで女の子はゲーセン嫌がるかね。まあそれも過去の話だけどな。所詮ポッと湧いたあぶくぜに使っちまった金の話をしてもしょうがねえ。俺たちは明るく今の話をしよう。そうだろう、リッチな飛び丸くん。その有り余る財力で今日は僕をどこに連れて行ってくれるんだい？
ああ、その前にこちらの御仁がお前に話があるってよ。
え？
こんにちは、木の実くん。
Hier ist der Teufel.
そのあぶく銭の話を聞かせてもらえるかしら。
Kinomi extraction bank bland. If anyone could sniff out danger, it was him. And if it stank like this, the pending doom.
僕勉強したいんで戻っていいでしょうか？
もちろん。洗いざらい質問に答え終わったら戻っていいわよ。こっちも時間が惜しいからスムーズな自白を期待するわ。それであぶく銭って何の話？あなたの月々のバイト料は2万円前後よね。その金額で3日近くも王様の真似事は難しいと思うのだけど。
It seems to me the next logical question would be to ask if he had begun a life of crime.
なんだよ、会長には関係ないだろう。そもそも自白って何ですか？いきなり犯人扱いとか、いくらなんでも横暴じゃねえの？
まだ事件かどうかは何とも。最近お金の回りがいい生徒がいると聞いて調べ始めたばかりだから。毎日何万円ももらえる仕事なんて学生には目の毒だし、そういったアルバイトは学校側に報告されてないしね。生徒会として危ない仕事だったら注意してあげないと。
Ork was still smiling as he inched closer to Kinomi. She had never spoken to him This Nazi after what he had done at the entrance ceremony. That alone was enough to make him think he was in big trouble. Wer ist der Okos Voice Actress? Aoko Aosaki. Ah, Haruka Tomatsu. Im Remake. Die macht es echt gut. Weil ich finde, man hört wirklich die Drohung in ihrer Stimme.
それは初耳だな。最近金回りがいい生徒ね。俺のは違うよ。今まで貯めた貯金をなんとなく使っただけ。クリスマス前だからこう派手に錠剤しとこうかなって。役落とし的に。
普通クリスマス前は貯金するもんだけどな。
いや。
ダメよ築地君。デリカシーが足りないわ。残酷な事実は口にしたくはないけど、木の実くんにはイブを過ごす相手がいないってことでしょ。学友としてそこを追求したらかわいそうよ。
いるわい本命ぐらい。真剣に同情する方がデリカシーに欠けると思うよ俺は。
あら、じゃあイブ用の資金は取ってあるの？
当たり前さ。臨時収入と貯金は別。俺通帳親父に握られてるからさ、予定外の入金とかすぐバレて怒られるんだよ。どこで悪さしてきやがったって。部屋も妹がチェックするしさ、隠し場所とかないんだよ。天井裏に隠したエロ本すら見つけられるんだぜ。万冊入った封筒とか見つかった日には警察に連れて行かれる。だから速攻使うしかなくってさ。
Yes, haben sie dich. Kidomi laughed awkwardly as he was ashamed. He wasn't even aware of just how much he had that slip.
へえ、臨時収入？さっきと話違うみたい。
いやー、それはほらバイト先のボーナスみたいな。5000円ぐらい上乗せしてもらったのほんなちゃった。ちょっとだけだって。事件性
Und
とか
da
ないっ
verstrickt er
て。
sich in Widersprüche.
万札入った封筒について詳しく。
うわ、話せば話すほど食い違っていくぜ。なんだこれ、孔明の罠か。会長近い。ほらすごい、なんか寒い。しかもローファーじゃなくてブーツですか。この前封じられた俺の記憶が蘇りそうなんですけど。
Kidomi backed away slowly.
木の実くん、時間がないって言ったの、もう一度アピールするべきかしら。直接体に。
The threat of a kick to the face from Oko was enough to show him that she was serious.
わかった、話すってばもう。臨時収入ってのは本当だよ。新しいバイトがあってさ、そこにしずきを紹介したら先輩にボーナスもらったんだよ。
なんですって。
If Kidomi really was working at the same punishment to Jiro, she wanted to get as much information from him as she could. This was exactly what she had wanted from Kidomi, if not better. But she felt dizzy from the implications.
紹介したらボーナスをもらえるって、それ。
It was the oldest thing in the book for pyramid schemes and other unscrupulous business practice.
いや、それがさ、しずきが稼ぎを増やしたいって言うんで、ちょい怪しいバイトを紹介したんだよね。
This went back all the way to before the final exams. Students were showed about a job he would heard from another older student. Since the job required kind, honest young man, Kidomi really gave up on it for itself. Is that passed on to a friend he thought fit description?
信じられない。そんな怪しい話にクラスメートを放り出しておいてまだ友人顔するとか。木の実くん、普段何考えて生きてるの？
友達でも紹介するでしょ、こういうの。むしろ本当の友情ってこういうものよ。しずきも助かって俺も潤うんだからさ。
Jesus und
無
dieses
償
Plot
の友情とか
aufgegriffen.
もう流
Nett.
行んないですよ。
そりゃそうだけど、そういうのはちゃんとケツ持つ覚悟がある時だけ口にするものじゃないの？
何それ、めんどくさい。会長、男同士の友情に幻想を持ちすぎだってば。基本
あなたを見てると本気でそう思えてくるから不思議ね。飛び丸、あんたよくこんなのとつるんでるわね。
はいはい、そこまで。説教するならまた後でな、青崎。そいつ素でバカだから、本気で構成させたかったら1日使うぞ。
いや、足りますよ。ちゃんと1日で構成できます、僕。ただ寝ると忘れちゃうだけで。
ほらな、ま、てめえがバカだって自覚している分、気づいてないやつよりは付き合いやすい。この若さで情けは人のためならずを実践してる野郎はそういねえし。
納得。確かにあんたと気が合いそうな性格ね。
いや、参ったな。なんだよ、二人とも。いくら俺でも照れるじゃんか。今俺のこと褒めてなかった？
褒めてねえ。
褒めてないわよ。
ですよね。
Aber dann bei Live ist es ein bisschen zu spät. Ich hätte Lust, endlich zu erfahren, was das für ein Scheißjob ist. Aber ich habe Hunger bekommen und will jetzt weiter essen. Und will danach vielleicht noch mit Freunden StarCraft spielen, wenn die Zeit haben. Also werde ich wahrscheinlich morgen damit weitermachen, irgendwann im Laufe des Tages. Je nachdem, wenn ich mich motivieren kann. Dann mal adios und vierte.